S. Donohoe, who claimed £5. On the off, number 1, Rusty Rock, was the 13-to-8 favourite.
Under starters' orders, and they're off.
Well, they raced the extended 2 miles this time. Quite a short run to the first of 9 flights. Rusty Rock is the first to go on. Richard's Lad in the centre with, on the outside, Shakespeare racing together with Marsh King. That's the leading group as they settle down and go now to the second flight. Rusty Rock's the leader. From Richard's Lad, behind these, Marsh King on the inside, racing together with Shakespeare on the outer. Charmed, I'm Sure, in the orange colours in mid-division on the inside, followed by Fanatical. And then after the Sea Shadow with Arbitrage and Night Inside, the last two, a couple of lengths off the main group. They race round the turn for home for the first time, and a clear leader, Rusty Rock, about 6 lengths clear of Richard's Lad on the inside. This one racing with Shakespeare, that's the one with the blinkers on the outer. 2 or 3 lengths behind them, Charmed, I'm Sure, in 4 on the inside, followed by Marsh King and Sea Shadow on the outer. Fanatical tracks these, followed by Arbitrage, who's at the rear, and on the outside of that one races Night Inside. Up now towards the third flight, and Rusty Rock setting a pretty good gallop here, about 6 lengths clear. Shakespeare has now just put his head in front of Richard's Lad, these two for second and third. They're followed a length or so behind by Fanatical racing on the inside of Charmed, I'm Sure. Sea Shadow is with these on the stand side, and right on the heels of those is Night Inside. There's a good half-dozen lengths gap to Arbitrage, who's being pushed along, and Marsh King, who's now dropped pretty well out of contention as they race now towards the turn out of the home straight. Rusty Rock continues to take them along. Shakespeare a couple of lengths behind now in second. Night Inside has moved over towards the inner, and this one's a half length back in third, followed by Fanatical 4. Sea Shadow racing wide 5, and then after these in the orange colours in 6 is Charmed, I'm Sure. So they start the run down the far side now with the field much more strung out. Rusty Rock continues in front, 4 lengths clear. Night Inside going well in second. A couple of lengths back to Shakespeare, who's in third. This one just being joined by Fanatical. Behind these, a gap of 3 or 4 lengths to Charmed, I'm Sure in 5, Sea Shadow 6, Arbitrage 7. And pulled up is Marsh King. They come now to the end of the first circuit, and they have 4 flights remaining. Rusty Rock continues in front to lead by 4. Night Inside is a clear second, a gap of 3 lengths to Fanatical in third. Charmed, I'm Sure, has gone back into fourth, ahead of Shakespeare, who's fading in 5 as they jump the fourth last. And then way behind these come Arbitrage and Sea Shadow, the only runners remaining. The field now strung out over 100 yards as Rusty Rock, showing no sign of fading, but didn't get very high at that flight, being chased about 4 or 5 lengths behind by Night Inside. There's a slightly bigger gap to Charmed, I'm Sure, who's a clear third, Fanatical 4. Shakespeare getting reminders in 5, but that looks fairly futile. It's 25 lengths off the pace. And then comes Arbitrage. The field well strung out as they turn into the straight, and it's Rusty Rock who's led throughout and maintaining the advantage, about 8-9 lengths clear now of Night Inside in second. The only challenger behind these, barring accidents with the remotest chances, Charmed, I'm Sure. With 2 flights to jump, it's Rusty Rock who comes into it, skips over it and gets away from it well. Rusty Rock from Night Inside in second, and the faller at the second last was Charmed, I'm Sure. This leaves Arbitrage to go into third. Both horse and rider back on their feet as Rusty Rock races away to the line, about 15 lengths or so clear of Night Inside. Arbitrage jumps the last in third, and Fanatical in 4. They're well strung out. There's 100 yards for the leader to stride away to the line now, and it's Rusty Rock, who's not seen another horse throughout the course of the race. Rusty Rock being eased clear of Night Inside, who passes the post in second, and Arbitrage, and behind these comes Shakespeare and Fanatical.
First, number 1, Rusty Rock, 13-to-8 favourite. Second, number 5, Night Inside, 20-1. Third, number 4, Arbitrage, also at 20-1. The 12:30 race was a novice chase, run over 3 miles. They all ran 8. 1 jockey change. Number 4, Mr. Dynamic, was the mount of S. Cowley. And on the off, number 3, Mr. Tickle, was the 6-4 favourite.
And they're off.
Well, they've 19 fences to tackle this time. Some Dream in the centre, New Lord towards the right-hand side as we look at them on the outer, and Dan Marino are the 3 early leaders, followed by Mr. Dynamic and Broughton Manor, who jumps upside that one. So they come out of the first fence, the field intact and into fence number 2 with New Lord the leader from Dan Marino. After these, Broughton Manor towards the centre of the fence with Mr. Dynamic on the inner. At the rear, Saucy Minstrel, and in front of that one are Mr. Tickle and Calabrese and Some Dream on the inner. Into fence number 3 with New Lord picking up marginally ahead, but pecking on landing, giving over the lead to Dan Marino. Up past the enclosures now, 2 circuits of the track to cover. Dan Marino leads by a length. New Lord is second. There's a gap of a length to Mr. Dynamic, who is third. Back to Broughton Manor in 4, a gap of 3 or 4 lengths to Some Dream, disputing 5 with Calabrese. In 7th is Mr. Tickle, and then after these comes Saucy Minstrel. Dan Marino leads round the first turn. He's about a length and a half in front of New Lord. Just a sensible pace considering the distance of the race, just 3 miles. Dan Marino from New Lord. Mr. Dynamic, third on the inner, a gap of a length to Broughton Manor in 4, a gap of 2 or 3 lengths. After this, as they straighten up for the fences on the far side, to Some Dream in 5. Calabrese well in touch in 6, with Mr. Tickle on the heels of that one, and a gap of 2 or 3 lengths then to Saucy Minstrel. They jump the first of the 4 fences on the far side. Little change in the order as they settle down for this long run down the far side. Dan Marino by just under a length from New Lord. There's a gap of a half length to Mr. Dynamic, who's in third, less than a length to Broughton Manor in 4 as they come to the open ditch where New Lord goes up sides to jump that fence together with on the inside Dan Marino. These 2 closely followed by Broughton Manor racing on the outside of Mr. Dynamic, who jumped slowly there, leaving Broughton Manor in third, but Mr. Dynamic driven up to dispute third again. Gone 5th now, a couple of lengths behind them, Mr. Tickle, followed by Some Dream and Calabrese racing wide as they go for the last one on the far side. Still at the rear is Some Dream as they continue down the far side. Pulled up, Saucy Minstrel halfway down the back straight, and they've now completed very nearly a circuit as they turn back towards home. Dan Marino by nearly 2 lengths. New Lord is second. Mr. Dynamic on the inside, disputing second with Broughton Manor. Right on the heels of these is Mr. Tickle racing wide of Calabrese on the inner. Some Dream brings up the rear, and the field fairly well in touch as they come to the first of these 4 fences into the straight. Dan Marino again led from New Lord. Broughton Manor down the centre of the track is in third with Mr. Dynamic on the inner. Mr. Tickle on the outside follows this with Calabrese on the inner. And last of all is Some Dream. Now they race up towards the fence that will be the last next time round. And still Dan Marino on the inside by a half length. Broughton Manor's gone second. Mr. Tickle's fallen. Mr. Tickle slipped on landing and fell at that fence. They go now to the water. 8 fences remain. The water is the 8th from home. Dan Marino leads from Broughton Manor. A couple of lengths back, New Lord is in third. Mr. Dynamic, 3 or 4 lengths behind that in 4 with Calabrese and Some Dream, the only runners remaining. Both Mr. Tickle and his rider safely on their feet as the remainder race away for this final circuit. Dan Marino it is. Dan Marino with the advantage of about a length and a half here from Broughton Manor, the closest challenger. They come now towards the turn into the back straight, and Dan Marino and Broughton Manor the 2 leaders. A gap of a good 6 lengths to New Lord, who's third. Calabrese now goes 4, ahead of Mr. Dynamic 5, and behind these Some Dream. So at the first on the far side, and Dan Marino and Broughton Manor the 2 leaders, and they're well clear, a good 8 lengths, I should say, as they go to the next fence on the far side. Dan Marino and Broughton Manor stride for stride as they go into the open ditch, which is the 6th from home. Calabrese, 8-9 lengths behind now, clear third. New Lord is failing now in 4, and Mr. Dynamic and Some Dream are very one-paced 5 and 6. At the next fence on the far side, still a Broughton Manor on the outside of Dan Marino, making ground on these. Calabrese definitely within striking distance at the last ditch. It's the 4th from home. Dan Marino and Broughton Manor. Calabrese made a mistake there which took the momentum out of him. These 3 are clear of New Lord and Some Dream, and also with those right at the back, Mr. Dynamic. Now Dan Marino on the final turn with just 3 to jump. Dan Marino probably going better than Broughton Manor, who's just being pushed along in second. And then after these comes Calabrese in third. He's still in touch, and he's got the better part of 2.5 furlongs or so in which to make up the ground. Dan Marino in the centre. Broughton Manor on the right as we look at them. Calabrese closing again in third. Calabrese, a good jump there, puts himself definitely into contention with 2 to jump. Dan Marino on the inner. Calabrese swings to the centre to challenge now. In between the pair of them is Broughton Manor. These three long way clear of New Lord with a fence to jump. And it's Dan Marino, Broughton Manor and Calabrese in that order as they go to the last with 150 yards on one fence to race. And Dan Marino jumps it well. He gets away from it well, but he's tiring. Calabrese is challenging. Dan Marino and Calabrese, 50 yards to go, and Dan Marino will hold on. Dan Marino from Calabrese with Broughton Manor in third.
First number 2, Dan Marino, 7 to 1. Second number 1, Calabrese, 7 to 4. And third number 6, Broughton Manor, it's 11 to 2. The 1 o'clock race was a claiming hurdle run over 2 miles. They were on 8, and there were no changes. On the off, number 4, Varlut, was the 8 to 13 favourite.
And they're off.
Well, they raced extended 2 miles once again on the first of 9 flights going towards this one, with Expeditious towards the inside, one of the early leaders. Deadlock emerges in front of Expeditious on the outside of these Auction Time. They're followed by Varlut, who's a close 4, Pantlin, and then after these Peruzzi racing together at the rear of the field with Shoreham Lady, with the Baron Arctic just in front of those. Now they make the turn out of the back straight for the first time. Deadlock leads by nearly 2 from Auction Time in second. Expeditious a length and a half behind in third. Pantlin disputes 4 on the inside of Varlut as they race round now towards the third flight. Deadlock it is who's making the running and a pretty good gallop into the bargain. Deadlock from Auction Time with the blinkers racing slightly wide. Expeditious third on the inside. This one being tracked by Pantlin. On the outside of Pantlin is Varlut. A gap of 2 or 3 lengths to Shoreham Lady. Peruzzi on the inside, and racing at the rear of the field with Peruzzi is the Baron Arctic. So now they race up past the enclosures, just over a circuit to go, and 5 flights remain, 3 down the back straight and 2 in the home straight. Auction Time takes over the lead from Deadlock in second, a couple of lengths back. Expeditious is third. Fourth on the inside, just a length behind this one, Pantlin, and then comes Varlut. These 5 have drawn clear of a group headed by Shoreham Lady, just behind it Peruzzi and the Baron Arctic. Racing now for the turn out of the home straight. Auction Time has gone about 3 clear now. Deadlock is in second. Expeditious is a clear third. A gap of a couple of 3 lengths, a couple of 2 lengths perhaps behind Expeditious to Pantlin in 4. In 5 is Varlut going nicely, and these 5 have drawn even further clear now of Shoreham Lady, Peruzzi and the Baron Arctic. So going now towards the first on the far side, Auction Time by 3. Deadlock's in second. Pantlin jumped into third ahead of Varlut and Expeditious as they continue down the far side. These 5 have drawn well clear of their rivals. Auction Time it is by 2.5 to 3 lengths. Deadlock is second. It's 3 parts of a length back to Pantlin, who's joined by Varlut. Expeditious on the outside of these a close 5th. And this group of 5, 15 lengths clear now of Shoreham Lady, Peruzzi, and finally the Baron Arctic. They go to the next flight on the far side, and Deadlock on the outside jumps up to join Auction Time, who jumped well there. Very close behind them, Varlut just shading Pantlin for third and fourth. And after these come Expeditious, who's beginning to drop off that group, as Auction Time the marginal leader over the last flight on the far side. It was the third from home. So now they race round this turn at the far end of the track. And Auction Time just beginning to tie up and getting reminders now. Varlut right on his heels, and Deadlock by no means done with on the outside of Varlut. These 3 now some lengths clear of Pantlin in 4, Expeditious in 5. The other 3 remain in the race at this stage, but they're out of contention as the 5 turn into the straight. Auction Time with Varlut coming up on his inner. Deadlock's in third, Pantlin in 4, Exhibition in 5 at the second last, and Varlut there just took a marginal lead over Auction Time. Deadlock still running on well in third, Pantlin 4, Expeditious in 5 at the last. Varlut on the inside and Auction Time in the centre. These 2 very close. They're about 3 or 4 lengths clear now of Deadlock, who's in third. It's a long run for home. Varloot just beginning to wear down Auction Time, who's running on well for pressure on the stands rails. Little to choose between these two. Deadlock's a clear third. Varloot in the last 50 yards, but very close behind him is Auction Time. Varloot, Auction Time, but close. Deadlock for third. Pantlin for 4.
First number 4, Varloot, 8 to 13 favourite. Second number 6, Auction Time at 12 to 1. And third number 1, Deadlock at 5 to 1. The 1:30 race was a selling handicap hurdle run over 2 miles. They all ran 14. There were 2 jockey changes. Number 7, Yara Glen, was ridden by Huel Davis, and Mrs J Waring rode number 12, Really Neat. On the off, number 2, Spring to Glory, was the 9 to 2 favourite.
And they're off.
Well, once again, the extended 2 miles. Yara Glen is the first one to go on from Emerald Moon and Miss Moody. These two, this one racing on the inside. Closely followed by Reeling and Terracotta Army. Spring to Glory just at the rear of this leading group, just behind Born with a Veil. Towards the rear, Ibn Sina and Really Neat and Grey Dancer, Young James, Lady Primrose, Taylor's Castle. So they race now, having settled down towards the turn out of the back straight. Yara Glen is the leader from Terracotta Army, a length and a half behind in second. Reeling is third, only a half length in front of Miss Moody. And close behind these, Emerald Moon 5, Born with a Veil on the inside 6, and Castle Acre 7. After this, a gap of a length or 2 to in 8th, Taylor's Castle. On the outside of these, Really Neat. On the inside of those is Spring to Glory. This one followed by Lady Primrose. Young James comes next, and Ibn Sina also towards the rear. At the third, it was Yara Glen who's quickened up the pace, going quite a good gallop as they come down to flight number 4. Racing wide on the right as we look at them is Terracotta Army. In between the pair of them and only a half length behind, Reeling in third. Born with a Veil in 4 on the inside with Miss Moody, and on the outside of these, Emerald Moon. Then in 7, Castle Acre, Lady Primrose 8, closely followed by Spring to Glory. On the outside of these, Grey Dancer racing with Young James and Taylor's Castle. Ibn Sina and Really Neat are now the last two as they pass the stands with a circuit to go. Yara Glen joined by Reeling. Yara Glen on the inside. Reeling only a neck behind in second, 1 off the inner. Terracotta Army racing wide is third. Born with a Veil's gone 4. Emerald Moon 5 ahead of Miss Moody 6, and on the inside, Castle Acre 7 with Lady Primrose. On the outside of those is Grey Dancer, followed by Miss Moody. And then after these comes towards the outside Ibn Sina, Taylor's Castle, Young James, and at the rear of the main group of runners now is Spring to Glory. So they start the run down the far side of the track. Still a good gallop on here with Yara Glen on the inside, just being passed now by Reeling as they go to the first of 3 flights on the far side. Born with a Veil jumps a length behind in third, Castle Acre in 4. Emerald Moon racing wide 5, Taylor's Castle 6 on the inner. That one's made ground. Grey Dancer comes next, but losing ground, Terracotta Army on the outside. Then come Young James and Lady Primrose, Miss Moody, and Spring to Glory. The field pretty closely grouped as they race on down the far side after a circuit. Born with a Veil goes up now to join Emerald Moon on the outside and Yara Glen on the inner. After these comes Reeling on the outside, a close 4. These followed by Taylor's Castle and Castle Acre, 5 and 6. Young James goes up 7 on the inner. Making ground back towards the leaders again is Spring to Glory just behind Ibn Sina and Grey Dancer. Beginning to drop off them now, Lady Primrose. Really Neat is tailed off, and just in front of those come Terracotta Army and Miss Moody. They start the turn out of the back straight now with Emerald Moon on the outside of Born with a Veil. The Grey racing wide going third is Grey Dancer. After these, Ibn Sina on the inside of this one, Taylor's Castle and Castle Acre. Now these 6 have drawn clear of their rivals as they turn in to the last 2 flights of hurdles. Born with a Veil on the inside, but leaving just a little shade of daylight there for Taylor's Castle to take issue if he's good enough to take it, and he's only half a length behind. Emerald Moon in the centre. Ibn Sina, who's come from way back, now comes right into contention. Castle Acre's close behind these, but it's Ibn Sina at the last from Castle Acre. Back into 4th is Born with a Veil as they start the long run for home now. On the stand side, Ibn Sina. Castle Acre is the challenger. These two have gone 5 or 6 lengths clear now of Taylor's Castle with Born with a Veil in 4. It's going to be close, though, for the major placing here. Castle Acre just wearing down Ibn Sina. Castle Acre. Ibn Sina way behind in third is Taylor's Castle, Born with a Veil after this one, and then Grey Dancer.
First number 8, Castle Acre at 10 to 1. Second number 13, Ibn Sina at 14 to 1. Third number 10, Taylor's Castle, also at 14 to 1. The 2 o'clock race was a novice handicap chase, run over 2 miles and 3 furlongs. Non-run here was number 6, Monkscombe, that left 13. There were 2 jockey changes. Number 1, Live in Hope, was the mount of Graham Bradley, and Esparra rode number 13, Rath Michael. On the off, number 4, Smarty Express, was the 9 to 4 favourite.
And they're off.
Well, this time they race over 2 miles, 3 furlongs on the run to the first of 15 fences. Rath Michael is one of the first to go on from Master South Lad. Saint Supreme on the outside, a close third, and Noble Vision in 4. So they approach the first fence. Rath Michael led from Noble Vision. And Blue Buccaneer was a faller there behind the number board. Blue Buccaneer a faller. Meanwhile, they go on to the next fence with Rath Michael the leader from Master South Lad on the inner. A length and a half behind. Noble Vision's in third. Jumped well, that one. Jumped into second over the ditch. Then in 4, Saint Supreme, a length back to Vomero 5, Malikas 6, Killelan Lad 7, More Cool 8, Smarty Express 9, Christmas Bash, Coral Harbour and Live in Hope are the last 3 or 4. Smarty Express made a mistake there and lost a shade or 2 of ground as they go now to the ditch at the far end. This is the 4th. Noble Vision basically jumped his way to the front, and he's got about 4 lengths clear now, setting a good gallop to, in second place, Rath Michael. Well, these 2 have drawn some lengths clear now. The main group of runners headed by Malikas, who's a length in front of Saint Supreme in 4. Master South Lad 5, Vomero 6 going up into 5th. After these comes More Cool in 8, and these are followed by Christmas Gash and Killelan Lad, Smarty Express. Live in Hope and Coral Harbour are the last 2 as they race now towards the first of 3 fences in the straight. Noble Vision on the in as the leader. Rath Michael jumps in second. The mistake there made, and a valiant effort to stay on his feet, but to no avail, Vomero. Malikas is third to Noble Vision and Rath Michael as they jump the fence. It'll be the last next time round. Saint Supreme jumps in 4th, some way behind the other, but there's a strong gallop on here in this novice chase as they go to the fence. It'll be the last. Noble Vision it is by 2.5, 3 lengths. From in second place, Rath Michael. A close third on the inside is Malikas, this one now disputing second. A gap of 8 lengths to Saint Supreme in 4, More Cool 5, Live in Hope on the inside 6, Smarty Express has gone 7, and this one's ahead of Killelan Lad, Master South Lad and Christmas Bash. Way behind the others now, Coral Harbour, as they round the turn with just under a circuit to go. Noble Vision it is. Noble Vision leads by nearly 2 lengths. Malikas is second. Rath Michael 3 or 4 lengths back in third, and then there's a considerable gap, 7 or 8 lengths, to More Cool in 4, as they turn now to race down the far side. Then in 5, Live in Hope, a further gap of 2 or 3 lengths to Smarty Express in 6 on the outside of Saint Supreme, as the leaders go to the first fence on the far side. Noble Vision and Malikas in second now. Rath Michael is third, and then comes Live in Hope 4, More Cool 5, Rath in 6 and making ground Smarty Express. They continue down the far side to the 6th fence from home. Still Noble Vision, he's led for a good deal of this race. Malikas the closest challenger, and then there's a gap of 8 lengths to gone into third, More Cool ahead of Live in Hope. Rath Michael back in 5, Smarty Express in 6. Smarty Express still a long way behind the others as they jump the next one on the far side. Noble Vision, after a display of good jumping, fell at the second last on the far side, and this leaves Malikas the clear leader. More Cool is 8 lengths back in second, jumping the ditch. Smarty Express has gone third. Live in Hope jumped slowly in 4, and then after these, Saint Supreme, Rath Michael and Killelan Lad, Christmas Bash and Coral Harbour a long way behind. So Malikas a long way clear, 6 lengths at least from More Cool on the final turn with 3 to jump. Smarty Express would be a dozen lengths off the leader. He's a clear third, and then after these comes Live in Hope. Into the straight now with just 3 fences remaining. And Malikas it is, still going pretty strongly in the lead from More Cool in second. Malikas meets it well and jumps it right. Malikas it is from More Cool, who falls, More Cool just met it wrong and hit the top and fell. This leaves Smarty Express second. A long way back in third, Live in Hope and Christmas Bash. At the second last, it was Malikas from Smarty Express who still makes ground. Christmas Bash goes into third as they come to jump the second last. The leaders now go to the last, and Malikas it is, going strongly. Malikas meets it right and jumps it well. Malikas by 6 lengths at least from Smarty Express. 100 yards or so to race. Christmas Bash comes to jump in third. Going for the line, Malikas has this one, so not Malikas. Smarty Express in second. A long way behind, Christmas Bash will pass the post in third, and then Live in Hope in fourth.
First number 2, Malikas, 12-1. Second number 4, Smarty Express, 9-4 favourite. Third number 14, Christmas Bash, 16-1. The 2:30 race was a novice hurdle run over 2 miles. They all ran 14. There were 2 jockey changes. Number 8, Calzari, was the man of T. Fuller, who claimed 7. Nihil Davis rode number 14, Pippa's Dream. On the off, number 11, My Lamb, was the 7-2 favourite.
And they're off.
Well, 2 miles once again with 9 flights to jump. Warner for winners and Commentator are 2 of the first to go on. They're followed by Secret Liaison, Arjuna and Malbank. Towards the rear, Highly Secure, Calzari, Red Match and Royal Segos and Aristocratic Peter as they race away towards the second flight, with Warner for winners leading from Commentator, who jumped slowly in second. Malbank is just behind these as they start the turn out of the back straight. Secret Liaison and also Pippa's Dream just gone past Malbank now, and they settle down to race round the turn into the home straight. Warner for winners leads by a half length. On the outside, close second is Commentator, and after these, Pippa's Dream on the inner with Secret Liaison towards the centre. On the outside of these comes Malbank, closely followed by My Lamb, then Calzari, First Design, Aristocratic Peter, and tracking the leaders on the inner are Pippa's Dream, closely followed by Arjuna. After these, Highly Secure, Red Match in the centre towards the rear. The field pretty closely grouped. They come up now to the fourth flight. Warner for winners led. Commentator with a noseband in the centre was second. Secret Liaison's a close third. Pippa's Dream 4 on the inside, but Calzari and My Lamb are up with that one on the outer. Loch Duick in 7 in the centre, followed by Malbank on the inside, Arjuna 9. Then comes First Design 10, this one racing with Royal Segos. The last 3 or so are Aristocratic Peter, Highly Secure and Red Match. So Warner for winners on the inside of Commentator with Secret Liaison just between them, and behind them a close third. They are followed by Pippa's Dream. 1 or 2 off the inside, and right up within 4 lengths of the pace comes Calzari on the outside of My Lamb, and then in 7th place on the inner is Loch Duick. A gap of a length or 2 after this. The First Design on the inside and Malbank racing on the outer. Royal Segos, Aristocratic Peter, and then after these Highly Secure, and behind that one comes Red Match. They start the run down the far side. Warner for winners leads by less than a length. Calzari on the outside, a very close second, with Secret Liaison gone past it on the inner. That leaves Calzari third, but still close up. Pippa's Dream a close fourth, a gap of a length after these to Loch Duick. Malbank makes rapid headway on the outside to join My Lamb, these 2 racing with Loch Duick. Well, this group of 8 is followed by Royal Segos 9, Arjuna in 10, then First Design, Aristocratic Peter, Highly Secure, Red Match, Commentator, who's dropped right away and is now last of all. So they go to the next flight on the far side. Again, Warner for winners led, but only by a narrow margin. From one off the inside comes Secret Liaison. Close behind these, Malbank racing wide with Pippa's Dream on the inner and Loch Duick between them. My Lamb is on the heels of this leading group, and they're beginning to shake off Calzari now. And then after these comes Arjuna, Royal Segos, First Design, Highly Secure, Red Match is tailed off, Commentator is also tailed off. So they go now towards the turn at the far end, and Secret Liaison now with on the outside Malbank and Loch Duick. Close behind these comes Pippa's Dream, and then Warner for winners, who's dropped away into 5th. My Lamb making ground in 6th towards the centre of the track. At the second last now, Secret Liaison led from Pippa's Dream and Loch Duick. Malbank on the outside, that's the one with the white face. These 4 have drawn clear of My Lamb, who's got a bit to do to catch them now as they come to the last. Secret Liaison, Loch Duick slipped there. Mulbank lost half a length, and this is Secret Liaison who leads the way to the line now. Secret Liaison and the strong challenger Loch Duick. It's be pretty close here between these two. Loch Duick on the far side, wearing down Secret Liaison as they go to the line. Loch Duick it is from Secret Liaison. Pippa's Dream in third, Mulbank in 4, My Lamb way back in 5.
First number 9, Loch Duick at 6-1. Second number 1, Secret Liaison, 11-2. Third number 14, Pippa's Dream at 9-2. The 3 o'clock race was a novice chase on over 3 miles. They all ran 7. There were 2 jockey changes. Number 5, Bereford's Girl, was mounted for Hugh Davis, and Polly Curling rode number 6, Field Chance. And on the off, number 5, Beresford Girl, was the 13-8 favourite.
They're under starters' orders, and they're off.
Well, they raced 3 miles this time on the run to the first of the 19 fences. Junior Parker in the centre, on the inside Kellyanne, and a close third racing wide. It's a Long Way racing together with Field Chance. Behind these, Daring Bud in 5, the last 2, Beresford's Girl and Bright Barley as they come now to fence number 2. Kellyanne just the first to pick up from Junior Parker in the centre. Field Chance jumped in third with Daring Bud pulling strongly on the inside in 4 as they race up now towards the third fence. Beresford's Girl goes up to join these with a Long Way on the outside. Bright Barley brings up the rear, but well in touch as the field races away now with 2 circuits to go towards the water jump. Kellyanne leads by a length. Junior Parker races in second. There's a gap of just over a length to Beresford's Girl disputing third with a Long Way. A further gap of 2 lengths to Daring Bud in 5. Field Chance and Bright Barley are the last 2. So now they make the turn out of the home straight for the first time. Kellyanne is the leader by a length. Junior Parker racing in second, a gap of 2 lengths then to Beresford's Girl on the inside disputing third with It's a Long Way. Daring Bud a couple of strides behind these in 5. Then comes Bright Barley right on the heels of Daring Bud. Field Chance just beginning to drop off them a bit as they start the run now down the far side for the first time. Kellyanne is now clear, 2.5 lengths clear of Junior Parker in second. Junior Parker quickened into that and joined Kellyanne as he jumped. So it's Junior Parker and Kellyanne together. A gap of 2.5 lengths to It's a Long Way in third. A couple of lengths behind that one in 4, Beresford's Girl. Daring Bud and Bright Barley are the next 2 as they continue down the far side with Field Chance dropping off them. Kellyanne just led at that open ditch from Junior Parker. Gap of 4 lengths after these to It's a Long Way. A further length on the inside, Beresford's Girl. Bright Barley and Daring Bud are the next 2. The pace a pretty good one as they race away towards the far side for the first time. Another open ditch ahead of them. And Field Chance continuing, but now tailed off. Junior Parker led at that one. So Junior Parker takes the lead before halfway to go a length and a half in front of Kellyanne. 6 lengths behind, It's a Long Way is third with a couple of lengths back to Daring Bud 4. And then Bright Barley racing on the outside of Beresford's Girl. And pulled up and dismounted Field Chance. Field Chance pulled up. So now they turn back towards home after 1 circuit. And now it's Junior Parker who leads. Junior Parker by a length and a half maybe from Kellyanne, that's the one on the inside. Daring Bud and It's a Long Way come next. They're racing down the centre of the track. Beresford's Girl and Bright Barley are the last 2. But at this stage, just approaching the halfway point, all 6 runners remain with a chance. Into this next fence, Junior Parker again by 2. The faller there, It's a Long Way. It's a Long Way fell at that one, and this leaves 5 as they come down now to the next plain fence. Junior Parker again by 2. Kellyanne in second, Daring Bud in third. Beresford's Girl and Bright Barley follow as they come now past the enclosures, a complete circuit of the track to cover, and 8 fences to be jumped. Junior Parker by nearly 2 lengths from Kellyanne. Similar gap to Daring Bud in third, Beresford's Girl and Bright Barley. And now they race away towards the turn out of the home straight. 4 fences on the far side, 3 in the home straight to be taken. That's 7 in all, and Junior Parker just going a nice swinging gallop in the lead, 2 lengths clear of Kellyanne, who's going equally well in second. Daring Bud going well as also in third, and then Beresford's Girl and Bright Barley. All these runners going within themselves yet. None of the jockeys has had to go for his horse at this stage, and indeed they shouldn't. There's still the better part of a mile or so to race. Junior Parker from Kellyanne. Daring Bud is in third. Beresford's Girl in 4, Bright Barley 5. So they race on down to the 6th fence from home. 3 down the far side, 3 in the home straight. Junior Parker it is by 2.5 lengths. Kellyanne is in second. Similar distance to Daring Bud third. A couple of lengths gap back to Beresford's Girl in 4, and then Bright Barley. Coming now to this open ditch. Junior Parker quite clever at that. Found a short stride. The faller Daring Bud. Daring Bud fell at that, and that leaves 4 as they go away now towards the next plain fence. Junior Parker from Kellyanne. Beresford's Girl now being asked to quicken up. Bright Barley's back in 4, but continues in the contest as they go to the final ditch. It's the 4th fence from home. Junior Parker from Kellyanne. There'd be a gap of 4 lengths between them. Beresford's Girl making a shade of ground and still got the better part of 5 furlongs in which to get up to the leaders, but getting reminders now, Beresford's Girl. Bright Barley continues in the contest in 4, but some way behind the third horse, 10 lengths at least. Junior Parker now going further and further clear with every stride. There are 3 fences remaining. They turn into the straight. Junior Parker it is. Junior Parker from Kellyanne. The third horse is Beresford's Girl. Bright Barley is 4th, and they're in Indian file as they come down now to the 3rd from home. Junior Parker steadied into it and jumps it neatly. Junior Parker, Kellyanne in 2nd. Beresford's Girl by no means done within 3rd, but they've a bit to do to catch the leader, and Bright Barley with no obvious chance at this stage. Again, another good jump from Junior Parker at the 2nd last. Kellyanne jumped it slowly. Beresford's Girl in 3rd as they come now to the final fence. Junior Parker goes into this with a clear advantage and jumps it beautifully. Junior Parker from Kellyanne comes to jump it in 2nd. Beresford's Girl in 3rd. Bright Barley comes into it steadily to jump it in 4 and negotiates it fine. Going for the line now. Junior Parker is eased. Kellyanne's in 2nd, and Beresford's Girl in 3rd with Bright Barley in 4.
First number 4, Junior Parker, 7-4 second favourite, and second number 7, Kellyanne, at 9-1. The final race in the Taunton card was the 3:30, an amateur riders handicap hurdle run over 2 miles and 3 furlongs. 2 non-runners here, number 2, Whistling Gypsy, and number 10, Spitfire Jubilee. That left 10. There were 2 jockey changes. Number 6, Emperor's Warrior, was the mount of Tom Jenks, and Mr. R. Davis rode number 9, Bright Sapphire, both jockeys claiming 7. There was also 2 pieces of overweight. On number 11, Wimbleball, the jockey put up £13 overweight, and the jockey on number 12, Aaron View, put up £4 overweight. On the off, number 7, Mr. Lion, was the 5-4 favourite.
And they're off.
Well, they raced 2 miles 3 furlongs this time. Wimbleball and Nordic Delight are 2 of the first to go on, a couple of lengths ahead of Bright Sapphire, and the group behind these with Tom Clapton and Carla Fair and Freshmint and Emperor's Warrior towards the rear. Aaron View, with just in front of Aaron View, Bremhill Rosie and Mr. Lion. Well, the faller there, Freshmint, skidded badly on landing and gave his rider no chance, so they settled down to race along the far side of the track with Nordic Delight setting a strong pace with Wimbleball on the outside. They're really going quite a gallop here. They're about 4 clear of Bright Sapphire, who's a clear 3rd. Tom Clapton is a clear 4 ahead of Emperor's Warrior on the outside of Carla Fair, 5 and 6 as they come to the next flight. Nordic Delight led, but was passed in the air by Wimbleball. Towards the rear still come Aaron View, racing together, or just behind Bremhill Rosie and Mr. Lion and Carla Fair at the 3rd flight. The last on the far side with Nordic Delight, and on the inside, a Bright Sapphire. Bright Sapphire and Nordic Delight. They're a couple of lengths clear now of Emperor's Warrior, who's in 3rd. Wimbleball a length back in 4. Tom Clapton 5. Then Mr. Lion 6 on the outside of Carla Fair. Bremhill Rosie behind these as they turn into the straight now. 2 flights in the home straight to be taken. Bright Sapphire on the inside, on the left as we look at them, and Nordic Delight on the right of the leading pair. A couple of lengths behind them in 3rd, Emperor's Warrior. A further couple of lengths back to Tom Clapton 4, then the grey Carla Fair in 5th. Mr. Lion goes nicely in a close 6 and coming up to join Carla Fair. After these, Bremhill Rosie, Wimbleball, and finally Aaron View. And still a good pace as they come up past the enclosures, a circuit of the course to cover. Bright Sapphire on the inside, Nordic Delight on the stand side. And these two stride for stride. 2 lengths behind them, Emperor's Warrior is third. A similar distance back to Tom Clapton 4, and a slightly bigger distance, 2 lengths gap perhaps, to Mr. Lion, who's just disputing the 5th place with Carla Fair. That's the grey on the inside. Then after these, Bremhill Rosie, and then losing touch are Arran View and Wimble Ball as they lead out of the home straight now with just 5 flights remaining. Bright Sapphire on the inside, Nordic Delight 1 off the inner, running a bit wide here this one and losing a length or so in the process. A good third, Emperor's Warrior, couple of lengths or maybe a slightly more to Tom Clapton in 4. Then comes Mr. Lion on the outside of the grey, Carla Fair. Those 6 set off well clear down the back straight of Bremhill Rosie, Arran View and Wimble Ball, who's pretty well tailed off. So they got 4 to jump now. Bright Sapphire leads by a length and a half. Gone into second place now, Emperor's Warrior, as Nordic Delight goes back to third and is about to be joined by Tom Clapton on the inner. Mr. Lion is right on the heels of these. He's well in touch if he's good enough as they go to the next flight of hurdles. And then comes the grey Carla Fair. So going into this next flight on the far side with Bright Sapphire from Emperor's Warrior, Tom Clapton a close third, Mr. Lion's gone 4 ahead of Nordic Delight 5, and then Carla Fair 6, and then there's a gap of 12 lengths to Arran View, Bremhill Rosie, and Wimble Ball continues in the contest but is tailed off. Racing now towards the turn out of the back straight with just the 2 flights remaining. Bright Sapphire leads, Emperor's Warrior 2 lengths back in second. A good third, Tom Clapton, and Mr. Lion looking very dangerous on the outside, a close 4. Nordic Delight 5, these 5 now drawing clear of Carla Fair. Arran View, and after these, Bremhill Rosie, who looks as if she's about to be pulled up, and Wimble Ball also probably about to be pulled up and certainly tailed off. Into the straight now with just 2 to jump. Bright Sapphire in the centre. On the inside, on the left, is Tom Clapton. Mr. Lyon's on the right and a very close third as they come into this. Emperor's Warrior in 4. And after these, Nordic Delight 5. They're clear of Carla Fair with just 1 flight remaining. Tom Clapton on the inside. Mr. Lion, who screwed at the flight a bit, he's back in third. Bright Sapphire's in second. Tom Clapton from Bright Sapphire. There's still nearly 200 yards to run, though. Tom Clapton, Mr. Lion challenges for second, but he may not catch the leader now. Tom Clapton, it is, has got away from that flight. Well, 50 yards to go. He's going to be very close. Tom Clapton gets there. Mr. Lion in second. Bright Sapphire third, and in 4, Emperor's Warrior.
First number 1, Tom Clapton at 9 to 1. Second number 7, Mr. Lion, 5 to 4 favourite. And third number 9, Bright Sapphire at 25 to 1. Well, that race completes the Taunton card.